In light of the U.S. Senate's decision to acquit the president, was the decision by the House of Representatives to impeach President Trump the correct one? And will this have a positive or a negative effect on the Democratic Party in the 2020 general election? Mr. Collins.
Yes, thank you. The House impeaching the president, I mean, I wasn't in the room, so I don't know all the facts of that, but I assume that they did in good faith, and I supported that. The Senate, on the other hand, they abdicated their responsibility. Not calling witnesses is totally unacceptable. Whether you're for or against the impeachment of the president, you have to have a fair and impartial and open hearing. That's what the American people expect. Thank you.
Dr. Gardner.
Absolutely. So the impeachment inquiry I fully supported. Not necessarily impeachment in and of itself, but as a scientist, as someone who believes in facts and in data, I'm always in favor of an investigation that is intended to lead the American people towards the truth. Moving forward into the general election, I hope it doesn't have a lasting impact. It might, because of national talking points. But what my goal is in this election is to keep forcing the issues towards our local talking points. I don't want to talk about impeachment in 2020 because that's done. I want to talk about infrastructure. I want to talk about health care. I want to talk about education. And we serve this district best when we avoid these hot-button issues that really have no bearing on the day-to-day lives of our citizens. And we drill down on the things that matter to us today: a living wage, the ability to raise a family, and have a good quality of life in Alabama.
Dr. Averhart.
That's a great thing about a democracy, and everything is a process. What I look at and what I've seen as it pertains to the impeachment, it went through all levels of government. Therefore, a thorough process was done. It doesn't matter if I like it or not, or if you like it or not, but what matters is this, that it's not about an individual, it's about protecting our Constitution, and that's what each one of those branches of government swore to do. I totally agree. I want to talk about the real issues that are affecting real people. There are a plethora of issues that are spoken about nationwide, definitely in our district. As I've traveled our district with more than 7,000 miles, down dirt roads included, and knocking on doors. Let's talk about health care and those issues that are affecting real people. Why our senior citizens are having to choose whether they pay their electric bill or buy medication. These are real issues that we should talk about and have a discussion about.